This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.
Talk Radio 790 KBC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real workplace lawyer. And tonight we have a very famous woman from the yoga industry sitting next to me, Miss. Can you tell us what you do in the yoga industry?
I have a line of merchandise, workout wear.
I thought you were an employee.
I am.
So you're responsible for some job task relating to this line of workout wear?
I am a social media influencer.
Could you explain what an internet or social media influencer is?
I could.
Are you going to?
What were you saying before we went on the air? Do you want to say that?
Yes, I should. To the deep regret as a 5-digit number of internet listeners every show, but perhaps to the happiness of the KBC listeners, well, at least the celibate ones, I have 2 promises to make.
You're a sharp lawyer. You didn't make either promise.
Okay, I'll say it. We aren't going to focus so much on the whole sex industry, sex robots, landline phone sex operators, famous neuromassage nurses, and also I'm not going to be so rude to my guests.
Then what kind of show is this going to be?
I didn't think about that.
Well, we'll make this a fun and exciting show.
How?
Excuse me, I've got to take this call.
This isn't going very well.
This is important.
We're on live air. By the way, miss, do you have a name?
No.
Well, then what are we supposed to call you?
Gemini.
Gemini. Sometime back, I asked if you could explain what a social media influencer is.
I could.
Are you going to?
No.
Why?
I'd rather not.
Okay, I'll just let this slide since I can't be rude.
Thank you.
This is boring.
Mr. Gerber, remember what you said.
I can't be sarcastic either.
Give me a Y, give me an O, give me a U. That spells you. Yes, you. Give me a D, give me an I, give me a D. That spells did. Give me an I, give me a T.
We know how to spell you. You did it.
Mr. Gerber, that's rude. I was just trying to give you positive reinforcement and praise you for not being rude. And look what you had to go and do and ruin it all. Now, I don't know what will happen.
Well, either do I. Maybe I'll have to start buying my suits at Walmart and every meal from street vendors.
Mr. Gerber, I feel you have lapsed.
So, what is your employment problem?
I thought you could tell me.
Well, how do I know if you even have an employment law problem?
With your near 26 years of experience, I thought you could just sense it. Is there a crease on my forehead?
Is that what this is? I thought it was more a sign of maybe spousal abuse.
Mr. Gerber!
From what I understand, the social media influencer might be a meme.
I've heard that word. What is a meme?
I'd rather not say.
If I tell you what a social media influencer is, will you tell me what a meme is?
No.
Should I construe that as you being rude?
I just wanted to create some mystique here for the listeners, get them to go Google all these 2018 and earlier terms.
Yes, give them something to think about.
So what exactly is it that you do as a social media influencer?
I'd rather not say. I wouldn't want everybody thinking just anybody could do what I do.
Okay, you don't wish to divulge your trade secrets on the radio.
Exactly.
What products have you been influencing these days?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, that's fine. I'm sure we have something else to talk about.
Do we?
Probably not. I would have thought you were a business owner or some independent type and not an employee if you're a social media influencer.
Nope, I clock in and out just like the rest of the world.
Well, I don't clock out. I have been on the 24/7 since this show started in April of 2018.
Well, what were you doing before that?
Doing great legal work, winning big arbitrations, trials, writing great articles about all different labor laws.
Oh, me too.
I didn't know you were a lawyer.
I am not.
Well, just to get this straight, you use your fame from the yoga industry to influence people to do something, I presume to buy sportswear, and you influencing people based upon your mysterious status in the yoga industry while you're still an employee.
Mysterious celebrity status? You're lapsing.
I admit I'm pushing 100 years old, and I'm not exactly up on the latest sweat your butt off over hot coals boot camp neuro. I'm sorry. I mean ninja workout studio, but nonetheless, I have absolutely no idea who you are.
You're breaching the agreement.
Oh, sorry. Could you tell the audience about your fame in the yoga industry?
I started out to reduce a few sizes.
How many?
Like 2 or 3.
2 or 3 what?
Butt sizes. I'm so sorry.
Hey, you lapse!
I won't lapse again.
Oh, did you reach your goal?
Not exactly.
I'm not trying to be rude, but what is the point of this story?
I got me some yoga butt.
No! You went totally overboard. You breached.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Maybe there's a system we could come up with to stop each other from breaching.
That's a good idea. You got an idea?
Well, generally in settlements of employment lawsuits, there's a confidentiality clause. If the employee breaches the confidentiality clause and goes around telling all the other employees about their great settlement, maybe even embellishing the cash payout, they're liable for a liquidated damage clause.
I've heard of liquid damages.
Liquidated damages, it's a predetermined penalty. Most real estate sales contracts have liquidated damage clauses.
I could live with this. If we start talking about sex or you get rude on this show, we'll be liable for liquidated damages.
Well, how much should the liquidated damages be?
I don't know. Maybe 100?
100,000? That's too much. The liquidated damage has to bear some resemblance to the possible damage. If it's too high, it might be unenforceable.
I meant $100.
That isn't going to deter me from being rude.
Okay. $500 for a rude comment and $1,000 for a reference to something sexual.
Well, who are we going to pay this to?
That's the problem.
All right. Well, here's an empty cookie jar. I think the call taker took the $4.85 in loose change that was in here, and he bought a pack of wipes to clean up the guest waiting room. They call the green room, but isn't green at all.
Wipes? Are you insinuating it's like a neuro massage clinic in there?
Ha! Breach! $1,000 penalty!
Okay. Who do I make the check out to?
Well, let's keep a running total here.
Are you good for your tab?
Yeah, I've even got Bitcoins.
Then how do you feel about my employment issue?
Gemini, you never told me what your employment issue was.
I just figured on account of you representing employees for 26 years, you'd know.
As a social media influencer, I'm sure you know a lot of things, too.
Was that rude? Can you give out the station's number and we'll let the listeners decide?
I felt I was being complimentary to you.
I'd like the chance to get back my $1,000.
Let's hope that everything stays at equanimity and there aren't any more fines. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and if you thought you were going to tune in for a show where we have some boring guest on and I'm going to ask a couple questions and the guest isn't going to answer it, well, you've come to the right place because we don't even know what this woman is doing with her social media influencing thing, and she hasn't told us what a meme is. Well, maybe she will when we come back, but if you want to give me a call on Tuesday about a real employment issue like a wrongful termination case, I can be reached at 877-525-0700. That's 877-525 for the leading labor lawyer who's been doing this longer than pretty much anyone else representing employees in the state of California, 877-525-0700. If you are at work and have had a real contract breached by your employer, I can be reached at 877-525-0700. I hope the live streaming is working tonight on the Karl Gerber with the K channel because I know there were some problems the last couple of weeks. When we come back, we'll find out maybe what this woman is influencing on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KBC.
Influencer. Pink hair, yoga pants, how do you make that pose? Sweet voice, sexy dance, where do you buy those clothes?
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
Oh, yeah, Talk Radio 790 KBC. And I think the moral of the story so far is don't mess with a woman with a yoga butt because she might be a social media influencer or she might just whop you with her butt. Yeah, we've got a social media influencer on here. You want to say something more, miss, whatever your name is?
Hey, you set this up so I'd have to pay $1,000 to be on the show. Ugh, you're just like that guy that...
No defamation to the other show hosts, even if they charge their guests to come on and talk about really nothing.
Oh, that was rude. I am certain that was rude.
It was honest. Not totally nice, but honest.
Are you trying to negotiate the liquidated damage you owe me?
All right, here's the 500. I think it would be more fair if you let this one slide.
Slide? Is that a reference to a neuro massage?
Excuse me! That's another $1,000.
If you're taxing me another $1,000, I want your $500 over that comment about the guy who charges his guests.
Now let's forget these fines for just a minute. I feel we're really broaching the subject. We really aren't broaching the subject matter of social media influencing or employment law.
All right, you're right. Can I have that $2,000 back?
If you give me my 500 back.
You first.
No, you first.
Come on.
Hey, that was rude.
I want my money back.
That's another 500.
Now I know how you lawyers make your money.
Oh, another 500, please, for the rude clause being breached.
How about this? You forgive the liquidated damage clause, things I owe, and I try to influence people to listen to this show.
Oh, gosh, I hate to force anybody to listen to this dribble. It's not like we cover anything relevant. We're just all off talking about ever-growing Berber toupees that are actually nylon and, I can't say anymore.
There might be a conflict of interest here.
How's that? I'm admitting it would be literally third-degree torture to force somebody, at least give them a bunch of, undue influence into listening to this show. But on the other hand, we've got those 5-digit-a-week bunches of listeners on the internet, and they listen at length to all these terrible things. Like, for instance, last week when Remus Helms came on this show and talked about robots, viruses, how his dear Aunt Sally died, and the average internet listener listened to such a large portion of this show. It was amazing.
What kind of robots are those? How was it Remus Helms' dear Aunt Sally died?
Oh, that was smooth. The way you didn't breach the liquidated damage penalty and tried to get me to talk about sex.
Sex? Could you tell us how that last episode that can be heard on the Karl Gerber with a K channel on YouTube related to sex?
I ain't paying no $1,000 penalty. No, ma'am.
A couple of lines of dialogue back, you were saying something about ever-growing.
Oh, go ahead and say it. Breach a liquidated damage clause.
Ever-growing Gerber toupees that are actually nylon. There, I said it. How's that breach anything?
It doesn't.
I was asked to spread the word for that product. Say some good things about it.
Did you? How could you?
I couldn't. There wasn't anything good to say about the product.
Well, did you take any money to say something good?
I was paid a fee.
And you didn't influence anyone to buy an ever-growing Gerber toupee that's actually nylon?
I did some subtle things.
Like what?
I got up. Well, first I put on the yoga pants. I twerked around a little.
Oh, $1,000!
I twerked around a little. Oh, no. I owe another 1,000. And when I was doing that thing, I said in a real... I shouldn't say.
I'm going to give you a 3 pass.
You wear an ever-growing Gerber toupee that is actually nylon. You get some nylon on your head when you take the toupee off.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. It sounded good at the time.
Did that influence anyone to buy?
I think so.
Until now, I never really saw a connection to being a famous yoga personality and influencing people to buy ever-growing Gerber toupees that are actually nylon until now.
Yeah, that's what bothered me. They didn't pay my commission on that one.
Commission?
I've got a contract and everything.
Interesting.
My employer said I didn't sound like I was into it.
Into what? Like the awful product or nylon rubbing on a bald head after a ceremonial removal of an ever-growing Gerber toupee that's actually nylon?
Neither.
It sounds like you did the ethical thing. You can't endorse every product.
I heard the reason why you did all those condom episodes on this show about the mixed-use project whose waterproofing was sheathed in recycled, repurposed, spent condoms was because you thought a condom company might be sponsoring your show.
Oh, that's just a rumor.
Oh, God, how much do I owe in liquidated penalties?
Oh, good point. Can we just settle on $2,000?
1,500.
17.5, and you've got a deal.
17.
Deal.
Are we almost done? I've got to get me on the internet to do a plug for a new mascara line.
Well, we've got more than half the show left. Tell me, how did you become so famous in yoga?
It's a long story. Actually, I don't feel comfortable talking about it on the radio.
We've got the time for a long story. Us employment lawyers love it when a new client calls in and says we have to hear the whole story. And the whole story starts years ago when they first saw a supervisor who was no longer even living.
$500.
Can we settle at 200? That wasn't really rude. It was more sarcastic.
450.
4.25. And we've got a deal.
Deal.
Yes. Okay. How'd you get so famous in the yoga industry?
Mr. Gerber, I am not paying any more fines.
Interesting. Very interesting on account of the interest. Can I influence you to tell your story?
If you'll waive all those liquidated damage penalties I've been racking up.
Okay, I don't want to be known as the show host who charges my guests anyway.
All right. It was a couple years ago. I'd been doing the modeling thing for a couple years. You might have seen me in a JCPenney catalog.
Well, maybe. My wife used to model the Mix-It Ultra Tall line. I was vice president and general counsel of JCPenney, and that's how we met.
Is that true?
No.
I was pretty tired of modeling St. John's Bay. I felt like it was a dead-end job.
I heard JCPenney might start selling secondhand clothes at some of their retailers.
I'll look into that. I could probably say a few things about that. Be paid $50 in commissions, even though my employer is supposed to pay me $500.
Oh, there is an employment issue. I'm so excited. Can I represent you?
Yeah, after I'm done telling the story.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Do continue.
I decided to get into acting.
Well, it sounds like you've had a distinguished career. Very suitable experience for social media influencing.
Was that rude? I'll let it slide anyway. I went down to this audition. They asked me to put on a pair of yoga pants.
Exciting.
Can we settle that one for $200?
0.
Okay, maybe next time. Yeah, so I put on the pants and wasn't happy with the way I looked. It wasn't doing justice to my... I'm not saying.
Well, what happened next?
That's when I decided to lose like 2 sizes in my, could I say backside?
I'll permit that.
To make a long story short, that's how I got into the yoga scene.
So all you had to do was lose 2 butt sizes, even though you were presumably an anorexic model before you got in on the scene of influencing?
$500.
Oh, I've been thinking. This whole liquidated damage agreement we came to, it isn't valid. The negotiated penalties bear no resemblance to the damages. I mean, lack of damages caused by these lapses in sex talk and rudeness behavior.
You can't change the rules now that I'm ahead.
I think let's jump to the chase here. What qualifications do you have to be a social media influencer?
Oh, it's not hard to become a social media influencer.
Oh, do tell. I'd really like to know. So far, all I know is you lost a butt size or 2 and went up a butt size or 2.
Okay, becoming a social media influencer is easy. All you have to do is take off your yoga pants.
$1,000 in liquidated damages. Now I'm ahead $500. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. And I'm going to get this woman to pay liquidated damages for talking about sex. And I'm going to be as rude as I want to. And I'm not going to pay a penny of those $500 liquidated damages. Because I'm a lawyer and I know how to get people to do and say things that they shouldn't say. I'm a little demented, too. And given the fact I'm a little demented, I don't know if you'd really want me to represent you, but I'm actually only demented on Sundays between 7 and 8 o'clock on this station. So if you want me to represent you on a real employment issue, you can call me at 877-525-0700. And I'll make the witnesses on the other side sound like, the witnesses, I mean the guests on this show. That's 877-525-0700. And that actually is true. I will make the adverse witnesses sound like the show guests here. 877-525-0700 for the employment lawyer who will make the defense lawyer not want to put on more than 1 or 2 witnesses after I'm done with them. We'll be back in a minute, and I hope we can find out what happened when she took her yoga pants off on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. Talk Radio 790 KBC.
I'll make
Talk Radio, 790 KBC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and I got a social media influencer on this show who told us that all you have to do is take off your yoga pants and you can become a social media influencer. She sounds like a social media influencer working for a franchise who just got a low interest rate on their loan and closed fast.
All right. Could we say there's amnesty if the bad thing we say is part of the truth?
We can't be fining each other for speaking the truth.
Agreed.
Tell us more about how this all fits together. You taking off your yoga pants, presumably to use the bathroom or change them as people must do, and you becoming a social media influencer. Say, if you just had to change those pants after a sweaty exercise, why would that get you on the worldwide stage?
Actually, I made a sex tape. Have you seen it?
Have I? How would I know? A lot of things come across my desk. I got a lot of material. I'm supposed to review for guests and people who want to be on the show. Yeah. Rebus Help sends them over.
You're right. These days, there are a lot of sex tapes circulating out there. I guess if you tuned in during the middle, you might not know it was me.
Yeah, all this POV stuff that never even shows a face. One yoga butt looks like another yoga butt.
No.
I'm wrong?
There's been a serious lapse. We need to do something.
Fine. This program is sponsored by a generous grant from the Helms Foundation's $5.14 billion in funding and 14 inches of endowment.
So that's how I became a social media influencer.
A generous grant from the Helms Foundation?
Mr. Gerber, I feel like you're trying to get me to repeat the whole tape thing.
Actually, I was joking a few minutes ago. A lot of stuff comes across my desks, like motions, bills, sometimes checks too. But I certainly don't review sex tapes at least every week or POV videos. Okay, I'll pony up your fouls and I laughs. Come on. Why do you think this show is heard on the internet everywhere? Many foreign countries on more than 20 sound sharing systems. I have followers on sound sharing systems in Poland. It's not because I'm talking about liquidated damages and employee rights.
You use the S word.
Look, I really don't intend this to be rude, but it's one of those things where we've got a talk show host over here who has to clarify what the guest just said.
And?
Okay, so did you dropping the yoga pants and doing that particular type of a tape, is that your claim to fame in the yoga industry?
You make it sound like all I did was drop my pants, and now I'm a social media influencer.
What more did you do?
Rude, sarcastic, 2 fines of 500, 1,000 total.
Oh, I thought we were beyond these silly agreed-to unenforceable liquidated damages, prohibiting me from being rude, prohibiting sex talk on this show. Come on, you're a social media influencer. You yourself admit that all you have to do is a sex tape and poof, you're qualified for that job.
I did not just drop my pants. My boyfriend set up a GoPro on a mini tripod and pointed at my...
Say it.
Say it. My butt. I did a little dance, took the yoga pants off, and then my boyfriend and I worked
no more will get censored. This station will lose its license. That listener will be forced to listen to this show on the live stream of the show of the Karl Gerber with a K channel or some other sound sharing place where we can talk like this.
You said the one listener?
Are there that many?
Then the hell with that. Let's say whatever we want. Nobody's listening anyway.
Okay, you go first.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Abba, abba, ooh. Abba, abba, ooh.
How does that go?
Okay, let me tell you. Abba, abba, ooh.
Abba, yoodle.
No, it's ooh at the end.
Abba, ooh.
Oh, that's good. Let's do it at the same time.
Ooh.
Abba, ooh.
Can we really say whatever we want for the rest of the show?
Why not?
I hate my employer. They're the most low-down, money-hungry, scheming, over-influencing employer of social media influencers.
Gemini, even if nobody listens on the radio, we've got lots of people listening on the internet. I hope your employer isn't listening.
Oh, no. I forgot about the internet. Oh, everybody's on the internet looking at my sex tape.
Well, I guess that's all the internet listeners are doing right now. They aren't listening to the show, or maybe they are because they want to watch and listen to your voice.
There's noises I make during the sex tape.
Well, are there other employers out there as social media influencers?
I am more of what you call like an entry-level social media influencer. That sex tape came just last summer.
I hate to ask this question, and it might violate our unenforceable liquidated damage clause, but would the release of, say, a second sex tape enhance your career as a social media influencer?
I don't know about that. Probably. But the more sure career move is a drunken wedding, an annulment that gets more attention than the wedding or engagement.
Well, have you considered making those moves?
I've been considering that.
At your present level of social media influencing, only having a year under your belt, well, maybe underneath your yoga pants or with your yoga pants off with that 1 year, how is the pay in this industry?
I didn't mean to say all of those bad things about my employer. Well, some of them. Well, all of them are true, but they do offer great commission potential. I can clear the upwards of like $10K a month in commissions.
Let me ask you this. Are you a famous person?
I am, I guess, what you might call like a D-list celebrity.
Oh, me too.
But people have heard of me. Obviously, I couldn't influence people if I wasn't famous. Duh.
Well, can you tell us what kind of influences you had other than the ever-growing Gerber toupees that are actually nylon?
Sure. Oh, we don't get to pick our campaigns, so don't hold it against me. There was a political candidate running for mayor of a big city. Very simple people. Well, I influenced a lot of smart people to vote for him.
Did he win?
Absolutely. He got 97% of the vote.
Where's this guy the mayor of?
He's the mayor of Simpleton.
Authority? Please say your authority.
Episode 58 of this show, not a particularly popular episode. You and Dumas thought he was Eric Garcetti. They sound the same.
Any other influence campaigns you've worked on?
This one was pretty big. They ended up raising $100 million to fund healthcare and clothing for the detained migrants over at the border.
Well, that sounds like worthwhile influence.
It got a lot of press. They interviewed me on the local network TV station 81 in LA and 14 in Sun Valley. Those shows got some high ratings. They said 12 million people saw those shows.
I thought social media influencers were just for clothes and products.
Oh, no. I did the Teach an Illiterate to Text campaign with Michelle Obama. That motivated a lot of people in red states to figure out how to read.
Why? They wanted to see your yoga butt?
Penalty! Come on. They wanted to read all those messages on Twitter.
I guess people do know who you are. We have a call in, but I think we're going to have to take that up after we come back. We're going to have to break. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real workplace lawyer. I encourage you to call me during normal business hours at 877-525-0700. I'm licensed in California. I have offices all over California. 877-525-0700 for a winning employment lawyer. That's 877-525-0700 for an employment lawyer for wrongful termination, sexual harassment, owed commissions, all the things we talk about on this show every week. When we come back, I don't know, I want to take this call and find out more about what this woman's influencing on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KBC. Yeah. Talk Radio 790 KBC. It's the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and I've got a social media influencer in, and, well, I think we're getting calls because of her. I guess people do know who she is. The lines here, I've been backing up with calls. I think we should take one of them. It will be fun.
I just love talking to random people who have nothing important to say. Put them on.
All right, we've got Joshy from Encino, California calling in.
Hi, is this the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show?
Yes, and you are Joshy according to the caller ID that got picked up when you called in?
Other than my mom, most people call me Josh or Joshua.
Okay.
Hey, we met. I was on episode 66.
Oh, yes, Josh Goldman, or Goodman, I didn't remember. Does your mother know that you're on the phone?
She knows everything I do.
Josh, is there something you want to say? Well, how's your freshman year at high school going?
So far, pretty dope. I wanted to say I thought it was crazy that Gemini was on the show.
Crazy. I was sent over here by somebody important.
Gemini, I wanted to tell you I saw your video.
Oh no, this is not a good topic. Joshy, are you still doing the robotics lab?
Yeah, there's a lot of new gear there this year. A generous grant from that Remus Helms place. Hey, Gemini, I wanted to say something about your video.
Whoa, Josh, does your mom know you saw that video that made Gemini famous?
Probably, unless my older bro Gerald cleared the search history.
Yes, how is Gerald? Is he back at college yet?
UCLA hasn't started yet.
Is he still dating Giselle?
This is kind of boring. Nobody knows them.
Gemini, I wanted to say something about your video.
Well, how did you see such a thing? I have to tell your mother, Josh.
The night I saw it, Mom went to an overprotective anonymous meeting.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, Giselle was talking trash about Gemini. She said you were spanky.
You mean a skank?
Maybe. Giselle got the video up. Way to go. 70 million views?
I'd rather we don't have a 15-year-old boy describing this video.
I just turned 15, so...
Maybe we should drop this call.
Gemini, I want to say something about the video.
I can take constructive criticism.
Okay, the lighting wasn't any good. You should consider a Godex, maybe an umbrella. If you're going to do that close-up stuff, you'd even do better with, like, a light on your camera.
Oh, that's very good advice, Josh. Yeah, Josh, Gemini, why would you want to use such subpar lighting on a video 70 million people might see?
I'm pretty sure it's surpassed 1 billion views. The 70 mil was just the version Josh saw.
But seriously, what's with the bad lighting?
Mr. Gerber, it's a sex tape.
Well, so what? Don't you want everything, well lit and in focus?
Then people would think it was professional.
Was it? I mean, not you, but was it a professionally shot video?
Since you said nobody was listening on the radio, I guess I can tell you. Yeah, we used some of Remus Helm's old crew when he used to shoot those kind of movies. We told them it needed to look amateur.
The nerve of you trying to fool the viewers!
Come on, Mr. Gerber. How else was I supposed to rise in the ranks as a social media influencer so quickly?
Oh, I'm looking at your job description here. Under experience, it does mention this is a way to get there.
Look, we did everything right. My boyfriend was a basketball player. We pretended we broke up and he leaked.
He leaked?
Not in the video.
Oh, thank God for that!
I'm so sorry. Josh might have heard this.
Let's change the subject.
Joshy, there are no secrets in the Goldman household. I heard what Giselle did. She has corrupted your brother. And now you. I am filing a restraining order against her size 6 miniskirts. I'll get my Geraldine back.
Look what we started.
Is there anything we can do?
Can you influence that mother of Josh? I mean Josh. Make her stop monitoring her 19-year-old son's dates, and God forbid if she's under the bed in a few years when it comes time for Josh's first time. Safety or no safety, there are some things a mother should not be present for.
I'll see what I can do.
Wow, you can do something about that? That's great. I have more respect for social media influencers. Say, Gemini, other than doing the twerk you described earlier, how do you motivate people?
Oh, that's a trade secret.
I find that employers hide behind bogus claims of trade secrets when refusing to produce documents in employment cases. A trade secret requires there to be independent economic value in what is claimed as a trade secret.
If what I do gets people to buy a product that does independent money values.
Well, it's not exactly a secret that somebody as famous as you do the yoga pants could motivate somebody, maybe the wrong people. Yeah, whatever idiots would buy an ever-growing Gerber toupee that is actually nylon that grows so excessively it has to be tampooned 16 times a day. Well, those jerks might get off. A bad choice of words. Well, they'd go out and buy, or at least consider buying those monstrosities if they saw a woman as famous as you, Gemini, twerking her butt in yoga pants. There's no trade secret there.
I need to mention the RH name.
I fear that will only bring problems with our liquidated damage agreement.
Mr. Gerber, I do need your legal advice.
Woo, finally, and then we'd be on safe shores.
I found out. Well, you know how an ever-growing Gerber toupee grows and grows and grows? It grows uncontrollably. It has to be tampooed 16 times a day just to keep it looking like a really bad toupee.
I'm aware of that fact. I'm also aware the overgrowth can be used as a weapon against hostile enemies.
I heard Remus Helms found a way to make things grow and grow and grow, but stop.
Yes, I imagine that is the case given his procreating robots.
Yeah, I know those are manufactured women-made parts, but then they get together, you know how, and there are more.
Yes, I'm aware of all those facts. I don't need to review them on one of these sound-sharing sites for this show.
It's not him making the robots initially. It's what they do in terms of growing and growing and growing, and then at the end it goes back to a normal size.
God, Gemini, why did you have to wait to say this so late in the show? You should have said this up front. It would have been a better show.
You started the whole thing about liquidated penalties. Ugh.
I feel, and of course the Helms Foundation feels, This show needs to provide the best coverage of the weird world of the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. We can't be stifled by pledges not to be rude, and even worse, never make any sexual references. I strongly suspect without sexual references, there is no interest in watching anything. It's not like we want to see a bunch of regular people on a TV screen or a computer monitor unshaved with bad teeth, uncombed hair, and no makeup. Yeah, I bet lots of people would want to see that horror show.
Then why is it different at work?
Laws.
If men and women have to look sexy, at least passable on TV, why can they show up to work looking like crap?
Grooming standards are permissible as long as they aren't only applied to one gender identification or impose an undue burden on one sex compared to the other.
Do you think people can really treat everybody as equals at work?
Well, the flip side of this is you say, look at me for the work I can do, and then it's whoever can do more work, give more of themselves is the more attractive employee, not on a physical level.
Like, who acts more like a machine, does more work, shows less emotion, never complains?
Employers, well, they use employees. Employees are used. It's human labor, intellectual or physical. That's what work is about.
Yeah, I'm just a beast of burden.
These are the hard facts of employment law. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, heard every Sunday on this station from 7 to 8 p.m. And, of course, it can be listened to on YouTube and sound-sharing sites. We will hear from you next week. Have a great day off tomorrow because you don't have to work. But you know who to call if you have a problem at work. Talk Radio 790 KBC.
Every time I see your face, yes, I get high on you, your beauty and...
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.